to make sure it is legal to take artifacts from the location. And so it also goes on to say that they must also take measures to preserve the artifacts. So that right there is actually my central idea, is that they need to research to make sure that it's okay for them to take the artifacts, and also that they must preserve the artifacts. So that is my first central idea. We're supposed to underline our second central idea, so I'm going to choose a different tool here, and I'm going to use the underlining tool. And I'm going to underline the second central idea, which we actually see in the second paragraph. In the second paragraph, it says, whether deep sea divers wish to study treasure or collect it, the divers must obey laws, dive in teams, and be careful at all times. So this is actually the central idea for the second central idea that is mentioned. Now, using this information, let's go ahead and go down here and let's circle the correct answer. So it says, which sentence provides a supporting detail for the idea that we must respect the oceans and their treasures? So A says, some divers spend a lot of time searching for sunken treasures. I'm actually going to do a little process of elimination here. So let me change this to pink. So some divers spend a lot of time searching for sunken treasures. B says deep sea diving involves a great deal of physical training. C says divers must identify sites that are legal before they collect artifacts. And D says profit is the main motivation for some deep sea divers. Now, looking at all these answer choices, I can go ahead and start doing a process of elimination. So A says that some divers spend a lot of time searching for sunken treasures. Now, it is true that divers spend a lot of time searching for treasures, but this does not connect to the idea that they must respect the oceans. So A is not going to be the best choice. So I'm going to cross that out. B says deep sea diving involves a great deal of physical training. Now, physical training is a requirement of a diver's job, but it does not support the idea that people must respect the power and dangers of the oceans. So B is not the best choice. I'm going to cross that out. C says divers must identify sites that are legal before they collect artifacts. Now, identifying legal sites before collecting artifacts is showing respect for the ocean's treasure, so that might be my answer. But I want to read all the choices again, just in case. So let's look at D. Profit is the main motivation for some deep sea divers. While profit is what motivates some deep sea divers, that does not support the idea that they need to respect the oceans and their treasures. So this actually would not be a good choice either. So the best answer choice actually would be C, which is divers must identify sites that are legal before they collect artifacts. So C was our best choice. For the show you're thinking, it says explain how the supporting details given by the author develop the central idea about divers searching for profit. So if you want, you can go ahead and pause and answer this question. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's explain how supporting details given by the author develop the central idea about the divers searching for profit. So remember, the supporting details are all going to do exactly what it says, support the central idea. So the central idea here was that the divers needed to respect the oceans. And so in order to respect the oceans, they needed to, let me scroll up to the text. Well, there's two different ones. They need to carefully research the sites to make sure that they can preserve the artifacts, and they also need to respect the ocean. Excuse me. At all times. And so here I can state that, let me just type it in. I accidentally put a bunch of spaces. So I need to restate the question. The supporting details given by the author develop the central idea about divers searching, searching, I still can't spell it right, excuse me, searching for profit by, and so they develop the central ideas by providing facts, examples, and details that explain how these deep sea divers can, and then what were the two central ideas? How they carefully research and how they uh, respect the oceans. So how they can carefully research and respect the oceans while searching for sunken treasure. I know this was kind of a long answer, but that would be how the supporting details develop the central ideas about divers searching for profit. Okay, so now let's move on. So it says read the biography, use a study buddy and closed reading to guide your reading. So we're going to go ahead and read this first, and then you're going to be answering the questions on your own. So it says Commander Suni Williams by Margot Carlin. As 5-year-old Sunita Suni Williams watched Neil Armstrong's fascinating moonwalk on television, she thought, that's what I would like to do. While she never thought of moonwalking as her realistic career goal, Williams' story proves that we can't always know where our path is going to lead us. If we believe in ourselves, though, we will end up in the right place. Williams' career path was far from predictable. She says she was just an okay high school student. Because her brother had gone to the U.S. Naval Academy, she was drawn there too. Williams graduated from the Naval Academy and trained to become a Navy helicopter test pilot. Listening to a former astronaut talk about flying a helicopter as preparation for flying a moon lander, a light bulb went on in Williams' head. It dawned on her that her helicopter training could be her ticket to space. She realized, the only one who's telling me I'm not going to be an astronaut is me. Williams eventually trained to become a member of the International Space Station crew, where she served as flight engineer and set a new record for women in space. Another first, she ran the Boston Marathon on a space station treadmill. Williams believes there is a message for young people in learning about the twists and turns that led to her space station adventure. Maybe you want something, but you get something else. If you make the best of it, things sort of work out. So let's look at the closed reading really quick. So it says, what does Suni say about why she hadn't become an astronaut? And underline the quote in paragraph 3. So I'm going to use my underlining tool, and I'm going to go to paragraph 3. So right here it says, she realized that the only one who's telling me I'm not going to be an astronaut is me. And so therefore, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline that quote. Okay, now let's look at paragraph 1. It says, reread paragraph 1, find and star a sentence that gives a central idea about Suni Williams. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a star next to the sentence. So let's see if we have a star. Here we go. We have a star stamp. So I can see usually the central idea is going to be either at the beginning or the ends of the paragraph. So the first sentence says, as 5-year-old Sunita Suni Williams watched Neil Armstrong's fascinating moonlight walk on television, she thought, that's what I would like to do. Well, this isn't really talking about her doing a moonwalk, so that's probably not the best central idea. The last sentence says, if we believe in ourselves, though, we'll end up in the right place. This is exactly what this whole story is about. So I'm going to go ahead and put a star next to the last sentence because that is exactly what, the central idea is. Now, this closed read then says, then underline sentences with details that support this idea. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my underlining tool, and I'm going to try to underline details that support this. So if we believe in ourselves, though, we'll end up in the right place. So I want to find a sentence that shows where she began and then kind of go on from there and find sentences that show where she went. So in this first one, in paragraph 2, this first sentence, it says, Williams' career path was far from predictable. So this kind of shows where she started. So it was very far from predictable. So this is supporting the idea that, we could end up in the right place. Now, in paragraph 4 here, it says that she eventually trained to become a member of the International Space Station crew. And then later on, all the way at the end, it says maybe you want something, but you get something else. But if you make the best of it, things sort of work out. So all of these are supporting details that show the central idea that if we believe in ourselves, though, we'll end up in the right place. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and answer questions 1 through 3 on your own for the guided practice.